So we've made it halfway. It's been a week in our intercession class. Everybody's continuing to do great work, putting in a lot of effort. I appreciate that. I've gotten just a little bit behind with Mother's Day, and maybe a few of you have as well, which, again, no big deal. That's what I was talking about in the earlier videos. I will be trying to catch up with some of the grading over the next couple of days so that hopefully for the last few days I'll be right on track with you once again as far as that goes and providing feedback and everything. I had just a couple of comments. This morning I've been working on finishing the timeline assignments for Unit 3. I also went over your topics for the final project. So please go and check out the feedback that I provided for all of those. And as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Also, I noticed that quite a few of you are working along on the discussions, which is great. And it seems that you're doing great work there. I will try to provide feedback on those within the next couple of days so that you know if you're on the right track. The ones that I've seen, and I won't say that I've seen all of them, but the ones that I've seen seem to be doing pretty well. So there isn't really anything to worry about there. What I wanted to focus on for the next minute or two is the timeline once again. So if you want to chime in about the view that you like best for the timeline and why for that 15 points extra credit, please do that. Also, I'll be adding that extra credit to your Unit 3 timeline assignment, so I'll just kind of go in and change your score 15 points more if you did it. I haven't done that yet, but I'll do that as soon as I'm done with this video. At the end of this video, though, I'm going to tack on a screencast that will show you how to change the view if you want. So you can just click on the settings in the bottom right-hand corner and do that if you would like. If you prefer the more even way of viewing the timeline. And it won't change it for everyone. Every time when you log in, it'll keep giving you the regular old stacked on top of each other view. And I was wondering what you thought about that, because I think that sometimes seeing the events stacked on top of each other helps us to make connections that we didn't necessarily make, or helps us to see that, for example, if someone entered Juan de Oñate based on the dates for his life, his birth and his death, rather than based on the dates of his governorship in New Mexico, we can sort of see how his life spans different events, how those events may have influenced the way that he acted when he was in New Mexico, for example. And again, that's just one example of ways that hopefully that view might help us to see things that we might not otherwise. But I also understand those of you who prefer the other view, because everything stacked on top of each other can be hard to sort of sift through in some ways. So again, I'll show you how to change that at the end of this if you want. Before we get there, just to make a couple of comments about historical significance. So the historical significance is sort of the analysis step in the timeline assignments, and that's really what I'm trying to focus on. Rather than just kind of listing off the outline of what the person, event, place is all about, and that's fine, that's what you do. You do need to do that. That's what you do for the first part of the timeline assignment. But you need to make that next leap and analyze why this matters. Why is this important? Again, like I said before, it's the so what, or the how does this fit into the larger story of New Mexico history if we want to think about the past as stories, which I think is an excellent way to approach thinking about the past. Something else I wanted to point out, though, is that it's not saying that something was the first or the last of its kind. That doesn't necessarily get at historical significance. You need to explain why that matters. Again, it doesn't really matter that something was the first ever, or this was the last time that happened. It's not wrong to say that, but you need to take it a couple of steps further and explain why that's important, why that matters to the overall story of New Mexico history. Let's see. So just to kind of sum that up once again, if you read over your post for the timeline and you realize that you haven't responded to that question of either so what or what specific things changed because of this event or person, what does this all add up to, those kinds of things, if you do that, or if you make sure that you've done that, then you'll know that you've addressed historical significance in specific terms. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Final thing before I cut to the screencast is the issue of comparisons versus connections in the connection step. Again, we're looking for connections. A few of you are still making comparisons. If you have questions about what that means or how to fix that rather than make a comparison, make a connection, please let me know and I'll do my best to help. So keep up the hard work, and here comes the screencast. All right, so as promised, here comes the screencast seamlessly with the last video that I just created. As you can see, I'm in the course timeline. This is the view that you get when you just log in, where everything's piled on top of each other. I'll just skip over here so you can see that's what it is. To change that, if you want, you go down here to the lower right-hand side and you click on the little wrench, and then you choose spacing. Click that, then you have to click continue. This is standard, what you see here. You could do a number of different things, but I think the one that I showed you was equal spacing 2. There you go. So that will spread everything out and make it a little bit more readable if you want. And I mean, that way you could also switch back and forth between the two different views. So again, just to let you know, that's an option. And let me know if you have any questions.